it's me, Wario. Hello there, losers. Happy Halloween. Welcome to my dungeon in Horror Manor. Forget the Tyrant. It's Wario's time to shine. Aha! Don't hit like, subscribe, don't share with anyone, don't hit the notification bell, none of that. No. Because the Tyrant is a loser. And unlike him, I'm not going to waste my time on plugs about the Patreon that you could sign up for as little as $5 a month and get one-on-one fantasy advice for all of your fantasy teams. No, none of that crap. And I'm sure as heck not going to tell you about next Sunday, where, live from Frankfurt, Germany, the Tyrant will be doing a watch-along show for the Bills and Chiefs game at 6:30 a.m. Pacific, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. No, I'm not going to tell you all about that. And I'm sure as heck not going to share the detail that the Tinker Stinker Power Hour will start after halftime of that game. No. And that he's not going to be doing the usual answering of all your questions, injury reports, weather reports, sleepers, and all that. No streaming defenses, none of that. I'm not going to tell you about any of that. No, I'm not going to waste any of your time. It's me, Wario. Even if the link to the Patreon's in the description, don't worry about it. I'm here to tell you, without any further ado, here's Wario's Top 10 Waiver Wire pickups for Week 9.
Number 10, Tai Spears. This is more about getting ahead in case Derrick Henry gets hurt, but Spears still has value regardless. Henry won't be traded, but Spears could get more touches as the season goes on. The offense could be spooky good if Levis really is the answer. And if the king gets taken out, Tai Spears will take the crown. He's more of an efficient runner this season, rushing for 5.8 yards per carry versus Henry's 4.4. This is a stash that could also work as a bye-week flex option soon enough. A lottery ticket that won't just fill a spot on your bench and could be a league winner if things go sour for King Henry. Number 9, Daryl Henderson. I think we've got one more week out of this guy. He was the better side of the split between him and Royce Freeman. And even though the Rams sent him back to the practice squad, look for him to be called back up again. The matchup against the Packers looks good as they give up the 6th most fantasy points to running backs. But when Kyren Williams comes back, Henderson goes back to the practice squad. That could happen in Week 11 after the bye or the following week. So we've got 2 more games of value at most, which is why he's lower on this list. But if you need a running back to fill in this week, you could do worse, Stinky. Number 8, Sam Howell. This is more of an honorable mention for the QBs, and my top choice is Sam Howell. We still don't know how the Will Levis and Ryan Tannehill saga will play out. Josh Dobbs going to the Vikings saves him from the return of Kyler Murray, making him irrelevant, but his inconsistency coupled with now needing to learn a new offense limits his value to a streaming option later in the season, perhaps when or if Justin Jefferson returns. Of the QBs with over 50% availability in most fantasy platforms, Sam Howell is the only one I'd pick up as a weekly starter, and even then, I would have to be desperate at QB. He's still more of a bye-week filler or a streaming option, but if any of these guys become a weekly starting fantasy QB, it's more likely to be Howell. He's averaging 24 fantasy points in 4 out of the past 5 weeks. He's currently the QB8 of the season. His upcoming schedule isn't overly difficult, and he could become more comfortable in this offense as the season progresses. Could be a weekly starter sooner than later. Did anyone see this coming? Sam Howell is the cream of the crop of the QB draft class that included Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis, Desmond Ridder, and Matt Corral? Oh wait, I forgot about this guy. Still, of the most talked about QBs in the 2022 draft, Howell was almost an afterthought. He's got some great weapons developing around him, and he actually makes guys better instead of worse, like past Commanders QBs. If you need a QB to fill in, Sam's the man. Number 7, Logan Thomas. Same story as always. Logan Thomas is a tight end 1 and should be owned and started every week in all leagues. That is until he inevitably gets injured. But until then, he's more than a serviceable option at the position that is hard to pin down. He's the tight end 9 on the season in fantasy points per game, and with Sam Howell looking like a competent QB, all pass catchers should be upgraded the rest of the season. I'd have Thomas up higher, but his injury risk does cap his value. But he's up right for now, and for as long as that lasts, he's a weekly starter at tight end position. If you need an upgrade at tight end, Logan is your guy. Go get him, loser! Number 6, Johan Dson. 3 Commanders on this list, and all in a row. Did I eat some mad mushrooms? No, I'm not Mario. I only microdose. Anyway, like I said earlier, Sam Howell is getting more and more comfortable in the Commanders' offense, and the offense is looking better each week. That schedule looks as juicy as that Princess Peach. Oh, sorry. But seriously, Dotson was someone we were talking about last season, possibly overtaking Scary Terry as the wide receiver 1 on this team. And while that hasn't happened yet, Dotson is starting to gel with Howell, garnering 18 targets over the past couple weeks. Dotson had over 100 yards and a touchdown last week, and I can see that production becoming more than just an anomaly. I think it's a harbinger for things to come, so get ahead of everyone else now. He's available in just over 50% of fantasy leagues, so you might be too late, loser. But if he's there, get him now. Number 5, Imari DeMarcado. He's a starting running back on an NFL team, and with nothing but mystery surrounding the return timetable for James Conner, he could be in that position for a while. Obviously, Kyler Murray will be returning to the lineup this week, as the Cards just traded Dobbs to the Vikings, and that should be a mega boost to all players on his offense. I'm not a Murray truther, but fantasy values tend to be higher for Cardinals players when Murray is at the helm. This will open up more opportunities and better running lanes for Imari, who has outplayed all other Cards running backs and will likely see an uptick in production as early as this week. Yes, he'll be facing off against the Browns, but Murray is enough of a shot in the arm to the offense that it could help Imari be a flex option this week, and much better for as long as he's the starter. With the Cards sitting at 1-7, they may not be chomping at the bit to get James Conner back in the lineup, so Imari could be the guy for longer than expected, worth at least a feeling as long as he starts. Number 4, Zach Charbonnet. The Tyrant and I agree on one thing this preseason, and that's Kenneth Walker's a stud and will not be supplanted this season by Charbonnet. But that doesn't mean Zach would go unutilized. Here we are in Week 9, and the prediction seems to hold true. Walker's still the guy, but Charbonnet has value on his own, getting the most attempts he's received since Week 3. He was much more efficient this time around, averaging over 10 yards per carry, and actually outsnapped Walker 31-24. He still had less carries, but barely, and Walker is dealing with a lingering calf injury. And if Walker goes out, Charbonnet is an instant high-end RB2 at least. He's a better lottery ticket than Tai Spears, and these has the potential to become a running back by committee situation, albeit one where both running backs have tremendous value. Walker's value will go down, but he's still at least a flex option, and Charbonnet will be right there with him. Get him now, or you'll miss out and be a loser. Number 3, Rashid Shaheed. This was the Tyrant's double deep danger dive of the year in drafts this preseason, and he may have been on to something because after the first 8 weeks, Shaheed is actually ahead of Michael Thomas in production and not far behind Chris Olave, sitting as the wide receiver 33 in PPR on the season, only 7 spots and 5.5 fantasy points behind Olave. He wasn't even drafted in most drafts, but he has been a valuable flex option in all leagues. This will continue as it is clearly not a fluke. He showed some sparks of talent last season, and those are only getting bigger and brighter this season. You must follow the trends, and Shaheed is trending up in this offense. Shaheed is a speedster and a deep threat that will put up points and punches when he's in an optimal lineup. An excellent flex option to have in your arsenal. Bombs away! Number 2, Taysom Hill. Okay, fine, damn it. He's a thing again, alright? Year after year, we figure the Saints will stabilize their offense enough to where they don't have to rely on trick wildcat formation plays with Taysom Hill. But we may as well accept that as long as they have complete garbage at quarterback, Hill will be used in any way New Orleans can. The Saints Swiss Army knife continues to make a mockery of his tight end designation, lining up as anything but tight end in most scenarios. He's either a QB, running back, wide receiver, depending on the play, but he can be played at the tight end spot across fantasy football platforms. What a fucking joke! Remember all the trouble that caused a few years back? Well, it's just a thing now. It's like fantasy managers kept whining about it, and fantasy platforms just gave up. Like how marijuana became legal in most states. Take a puff, 420 friends. Alright, back to the show. Averaging well over 15 fantasy points per game the last 3 games, Taysom Hill could be the best tight end pickup, and the pickup of the week if it weren't for the next big star tight end finally emerging. Which leads me to my number 1 waiver wire pickup of Week 9, Tre McBride. Finally, the top tight end prospect from the 2022 draft has been let out of his package. For those of you in Dynasty Leagues, time to call him up from your taxi squad. But for the rest of you, he's the top pickup this week for a few reasons. First of all, the tight end position is harder to properly fill than a 40-year-old Vegas whore. Unless you're packing like John Holmes or, well, any average black guy. He's like tossing a hot dog down a hallway. Okay, that doesn't exactly translate for tight ends in fantasy football, but you'll get the point. Unless you have a stud, that hole is not properly filled. There we go. That was much better, right? Tre McBride is the stud tight end we've been looking for. This breakout was coming. It was just a matter of time. And now that it's happened, it's a time to hop on this train straight into Titletown. With 25 targets over the past 3 weeks, they've been ramping him up even before Zach Ertz went down. With Ertz now down for a significant part of the season, and Kyler Murray making his return and season debut this weekend, Tre McBride could be locked in as a tight end 1 with top 5 tight end numbers rest of season. Even if Ertz comes back, McBride is now the guy. He's not only a great pass-catching tight end, but a great blocking tight end as well, so he'll be in on every snap. McBride looks to be a top 10 tight end for years to come, but in season long this year, he's ready to pick up and plug in now. If you've been streaming tight ends all season, make McBride your priority pickup this week. Having the top 2 spots on the list taken up by tight ends is proof that it's a slow waiver wire week. But if you don't have a stud tight end, this may be where you spend your top waiver priority if you have all other bases covered. Anyone who knows what this kid is capable of knows this moment was coming. It's a here, it's a now. Go get him, losers!
So that's it. That's the top 10. If you want to know more, like how much fab to spend per player, or who's worth giving up your waiver wire priority for, just sign up with the Tyrant on Patreon, and you... Oh, damn you, Tyrant! You fooled me into giving one of your stupid plugs. Ah! Curse you, loser! Anyway, some honorable mentions real quick. KJ Osborne is just over 50% owned. If he's available in your league, what I would do is pick him up after the waiver. I wouldn't spend a waiver priority on him. Just pick him up once he becomes a free agent. He's no sure thing anymore with Josh Dobbs coming in to take over for Kirk Cousins. Jaden Reed is a deep league option, but I wouldn't really pick him up or start him unless Dobbs or Watson were to go down. Tyler Boyd is sort of in the same boat. As long as Chase and Higgins are healthy, you're not going to get consistent output out of Tyler Boyd. He's just a third wheel and won't be valuable unless one of those other wheels blows a tire. Pierre Strong is intriguing. Keep an eye on him in case Jerome Ford gets hurt. And Brandon Cooks is finally getting some attention in the Dallas offense. Does it mean it's time to get him? Nah. So that's it, losers. Bad luck to you this week. The Tyrant will see you this Sunday at 6:30 a.m. Pacific, 9:30 a.m. Eastern for the watch-along of the Chiefs and Dolphins game. Live from Frankfurt, Germany. Yeah, right. He can't afford that kind of budget. It's probably just gonna be some crappy green screen. So that's it. This is me, Wario, signing off, wishing you all a very terrible and scary Halloween. Goodbye, losers!